Okay, so today what we will do, we will just first try to understand what is group velocity, phase velocity, and then we will try to understand one experiment of which is named as Davison-Germer experiment, which will be basically justify that there is existence of de Broglie wavelength, and then finally we will try to go for uncertainty principle. So all thing is correlated to each other. So let's try to go for this. So in last class, we have seen that this is the basically pattern of group velocity. So what is group velocity? The amplitude. The amplitude is moving with group velocity, and this inside that wave, which is moving just like phase velocity. What I have told you that what is physical meaning of group velocity? The physical meaning of group velocity is that group velocity is associated with the particle. Means whatever with the classical velocity or classical speed, that can be determined by the group velocity. And what is phase velocity? The phase velocity has not any physical significance. You will see when I will solve some problem, you will find that sometime you will get phase velocity can be greater than c. And when it is greater than c, then obviously it is very difficult. And I have just superposed only two waves. There may be n number of waves. There may be n number of waves, and they can be superpose each other. So this pattern can be very complex. You will see into the quantum mechanics when we will move into quantum mechanics. You will see that is moving in a very complex manner. This particular packet, so now you can see, so this is the packet, whole packet is moving. So don't see the inside, this just see that how this packet is moving. The movement of this packet is actually associated with the particle, and that moving particle have associated different type of matter wave. Matter wave is not physical kind of thing. Why I am not saying it is physical? Because it is not matching with the physical definition of the physics. But before that, let us try to go for some more definition and some different way to write group velocity and phase velocity. You will always find we will write omega as a function of k in different places, different for different type of system. You can write omega as a function of k, and this is basically known as dispersion relation. Dispersion relation. So we can write this thing in term of energy, this thing in term of lambda, any way we can write. So group velocity we can also define as, if we can multiply by h cut numerator as well as denominator, then this is also defined as dE upon dP. So when somehow you will get the relationship between energy and momentum, you can get also group velocity. Wonderful way to get the group velocity, you can get the dispersion relation. You can just got omega versus k. And similarly, phase velocity I can also write as E upon P. Vp I can write E upon P. Or in somehow, if you are writing your energy as a function of momentum, then also you can find the group velocity and phase velocity. And what you have also k as function of 2 pi upon lambda, then you can also write group velocity and phase velocity in term of lambda also. So these are the different ways, depends on how examiner is asking this particular question. Now, so what we have? We have basically, so from here we can find Vp is equal to, so omega is equal to Vp into K. So this is the relation. So from this relation, we can just write this one. So we can write d omega upon dk. This is one of the very interesting relation. D omega upon dk is equal to Vp, because we are differentiating with K, and now we can just write K dVp upon dk. And what is d omega upon dk? D omega upon dk is nothing but Vg, and we have written Vp plus K dVp upon dk. This is one of the beautiful relationship between group velocity and phase velocity. If you have all this kind of situation, we can write Vp in function of K, then you can easily write it. So let's try to find out some basic in some problem, that what is group velocity, what is phase velocity. Just try to write it. If you want, you can write in term of lambda also. Just you can find dk here, so that will be minus 2 pi upon lambda square. So you can just find in term of lambda also, and this can be also written as Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda del Vp upon d lambda. So this is also one of the important relationship, depends on how examiner is asking this thing. Okay, so I think I have to write it on here also. So you can write Vg is equal to Vp minus lambda dVp upon d lambda. We will discuss each and everything about this when we will go for the quantum mechanics, but right now we are just understanding the definition. This is, and we are just try to understand from where these things are coming, but actual logic and actual analysis, we will do each and everything into the quantum mechanics. So now, what is free particle? Let's say classical free particle. Classical free particle. What are classical free particle? You know, the energy of classical free particle is E is equal to, let's say, P square upon 2m. This is energy of classical free particle. Somehow I can write energy in term of momentum. There is only kinetic energy, and you can write classical free particle P square upon 2m. What will be group velocity? The group velocity, the associated group velocity of this particle is all about dE upon dP. And when you can differentiate it, you will get P upon m. And what is P upon m? This is nothing but the velocity of a particle. Actual velocity of a particle, that is classical velocity. I am always saying you, that is associated with the classical velocity. And now if you are going to calculate what will be Vp, then Vp is equal to E upon P. And how you will get E? You have P square upon 2m, and this can be written as by P, and this will be P upon 2m. And this P upon 2m is written as something V upon 2. What is V upon 2? Not, this is just a half of actual velocity, but it has not any physical significance. That here I can say P upon m is velocity, but what is P upon 2m? What is P upon 2m? Do you know? Can you give the name of that as a physical quantity? Sometime you can keep giving the name energy. Sometime you will giving the name some acceleration. Sometime you are giving the name some physical quantity, angular momentum. This is something, so just a number, just a number. V upon 2 is just a number. But here, if I am saying V, obviously it is also a number in term of velocity, but it is actual velocity of a particle. Obviously, this is very trivial. This is very trivial. Why I am saying it is trivial? Because it is very obvious. Let's go for non-trivial thing. When you will be surprised what is going to happen, let's try to go for the free particle for the relativistic sense. Then what will happen when the particle is moving in a some relativistic ambit? Then let's try to go for this. So
Hello, sir.
Yes.
सर आपने जो ये ओमेगा इक्वल्स टू ओमेगा ओमेगा के लिखा है सर, इसको सर क्या बोलते हैं सर? डिस्पर्सन क्या होता
डिस्पर्सन
है?
रिलेशन, डिस्पर्सन रिलेशन, ओमेगा और के बीच का रिलेशन को डिस्पर्सन रिलेशन कहते हैं।
ओके
आप
सर, ओके
आपने ऑप्टिक्स में पढ़ा होगा या फिर पढ़ोगे? ओके।
सर। हेलो सर।
हम्म।
सर अगर हमें सर डिफाइन करना हो सर ग्रुप वेलोसिटी और फेज वेलोसिटी को, तो सर जो आपने कल बताया था कि ग्रुप वेलोसिटी एक्चुअल वेलोसिटी होती है पार्टिकल की।
पार्टिकल की, एग्जैक्टली वही तो देखा।
यस सर।
द पार्टिकल की
यस सर।
वेलोसिटी वी है।
और
एग्जैक्टली,
सर
आई एम
अगर
जस्ट वेरीफाइंग, आई एम जस्ट वेरीफाइंग।
ओके ओके सर। सर अगर हमें डिफाइन करना हो व्हाट इज द फेज वेलोसिटी, तो सर फेज वेलोसिटी को हम कैसे डिफाइन करेंगे
नहीं
सर?
डिफाइन कर सकते, दैट इज द एक्चुअल थिंग। द
ओके
वेलोसिटी is not defined actually. Just give me next problem. Just give me time for to discuss the next
ओके
problem.
ओके
You will
सर,
just
थैंक यू सर।
find you cannot define that. Okay. Everything cannot be defined. But we are using is at a mathematics to understand the nature. That is the beautiful part of quantum mechanics. The human mind is so broad that you can think abstractly, but you can just use it at a particular real level. Just give me time, just give me time in one or two class, and when we will start quantum mechanics you will find everything is so mesmerizing. So suppose some particle is moving with velocity v in relativistic range. So what will be your energy? Your energy is all about p square c square m naught square c4, and m naught is the rest mass. You know all this notation. So this is the energy. What will be group velocity? The group velocity you can easily find dE upon dP, and this will be pc square. Just you can differentiate it, you will get this particular number, p square c square plus m naught square c4. And now if you are going to calculate this particular thing, I can write p as m naught v root under 1 minus v square c square into c square upon, and this is nothing but the energy, and I can have energy in term of velocity, m naught c square root under 1 minus v square c square. What will happen? You can see everything is going to cancel out. This will remain v. And what is v? What is v? V is the velocity of particle. You can find this v is nothing but the velocity of particle. I am just using the calculation term very intelligently, that I can write p in term of v, and I know that velocity, the particle is moving with velocity v. Let's try to understand. And what is v? Here, relativistic range of particle. It may be 0.8 c. Don't worry, 0.8 c. Some particles, some electron is moving with 0.8 c. Don't worry, it can be happen. Now let's try to calculate Vp. What is Vp? Vp is all about E upon P. And what is E? E is equal to m naught c square root under 1 minus v square c square. And what is P? M naught v root under 1 minus v square c square. Everything is cancelled, and you will get Vp as c square upon v. What is c square upon v? Can anything have a speed more than c? This can be written as, I am just using the different color. This can be written as c upon v into c. And what is c upon v? This is suppose 0.8 c. So this will be 1 greater than 1. And you have Vp is nothing but the greater than the speed of light. How I can justify this speed? How I can justify this speed, that I can get a speed c square upon v? What is moving with the speed c square upon v? You can get, if you will put the value of 0.8 c here, then you can find this will be greater than c, which is not possible in the real sense. So I am always saying you And what is the basic fundamentals? The basic fundamentals are that, please, you cannot read quantum mechanics separately, you cannot read classical mechanics separately. It's up to the which phenomena you want to observe. If you want to observe some phenomena, it may be explained by classical mechanics. Some phenomena may be explained by quantum mechanics. And it's up to your intellect that where you are using all these concepts. It is different thing that the microscopic level, that quantum mechanical approach is entirely different than the whatever we have done the Newtonian approach. So this is the two basic problem we can easily find, and you can easily find what will, and this is the very important relationship for relativistic free particle. We can find Vg into Vp is equal to c square. So you can just V is Vg, so Vg into Vp is c square for the relativistic free particle. So actually, when you are doing the calculation, it may be you can use phase velocity, it may be you can take the abstract thing, but when you are going for the physical measurement, when you are going for the physical measurement, whatever you are going to measure it, that is most important thing. What you observe and how you explain this observation, that is different issue. And look at, even if I am saying that phase velocity or de Broglie hypothesis is a very abstract in nature, it can experimentally verified. And look at this particular experiment and how we can verify this all kind of thing. Just try to understand this experiment of Davison-Germer experiment, which will verify the existence of de Broglie wavelength. What is meaning of that? What is meaning of that? The particle have associated wave, means we can say the particle have wave nature also, such as light has particle nature as well as wave nature. Similarly, the particle has also particle nature as well as wave nature. So there is duality come into the picture. You cannot say that, and it will depends to you which thing when you are going to observe. So let's try to go for this experiment and try to understand how we can justify. Everything is all about logic. So you have to be logical to understand the thing. So let's go for a very exciting experiment, and this experiment is very simple experiment. You will be surprised that simplicity have lot of story to tell. And look at this story. Now I am just making the schematic diagram. What is meaning of schematic diagram? I am just drawing schematically. I am just drawing only those things which are important to understand, not going inside the electronics and all kind of thing. So you have to be also understand this thing, because purpose is different. Purpose is not understanding the electronics. What we have a nickel target. So this is some target, some nickel block, and this is some solid structure, well known solid structure. We know its internal structure. And what we have electronic gun. So this is electronic gun, and this electronic gun can be, so this electronic gun can be regulated by the voltage. What is meaning of regulated by the voltage? The electron will emerge from that gun depends on what is the voltage of this particular gun. So you can find what will be the kinetic energy, and everything is done into the vacuum. So only kinetic energy is there. So what will happen? So electronic gun will, so electron will come here, hit there, and we will just see the detector here is the detector, and we can find the intensity pattern of the detector, and this is some angle phi. This angle is known as scattering angle. So electron is there, so there is electron. Okay, so there is electron is coming, so electron is coming here, and you can just find this thing. And in this detector we have arrangement with the voltmeter such that we can find the intensity. So we have this sort of pattern of intensity. So intensity versus phi, what we have this sort of pattern, and this phi is particularly at the angle 50 degree. This is at the angle, this is maximum at the 50 degree. This is some intensity pattern. And this phi, if I am talking about intensity versus some velocity or some electron volt, the kinetic energy of electron, that will driven by the basically that is driven by basically voltage. So I versus EV we have calculated, and we have get exactly same type of pattern, and this will be, I think we will get that 54 electron volt. So we will get the maxima at 54 electron volt at the angle 50 degree. So both have same thing, because I cannot plot third coordinate here. So otherwise this will be, in one axis we have phi, another axis we have voltage, another axis we have I. If I have computers and all the simulation, then I can show you all these three thing into one at it, but I am just doing it together. How we can explain it? This is the real challenge. Because if electron will be only particle, then why it is decreasing after 54 electron volt, or why it is decreasing after 50 degree? And it should be not just this broad type of intensity pattern, just like in a diffraction pattern, or in basically diffraction pattern you have learned from the light. We have this kind of pattern of the central thing is this. If you remember, the diffraction pattern is something kind of this kind of situation, isn't it? So this is the central pattern. So we have exactly diffraction pattern, obviously with the electrons. So let's try to understand with the help of optics or with the help of light what is going to happen. So this is the nickel. So in the nickel we have a very nice arrangement of their solid structure. So we have arrangement, and let's say this kind of arrangement is there. So I will take the two layer. Now, what is the assumption of this calculation? At this calculation we have assumption, if this experiment would done by the light, what should be the result? Okay, if this experiment have been done by the light, what should be the result? If X-ray, you have done X-ray diffraction in the solid state. If we have done this experiment with the X-ray, what should be the result? Let's try to understand the result. Now, we have interatomic distance d, and I have the number d from this lab, and this number is 0.91 angstrom. If suppose in spite of electron we are just taking the light, then what will happen? Light will come here and it will go there, and it will have interference pattern. Why? Because they will just interfere by assuming one light is coming here and another light is coming here, and we have this particular interference pattern. So let's say it is coming something like this, and it is just going to scattered. One light is from scattered from here, and the another light is parallel light, and that will be scattered from here. And obviously we can draw the perpendicular distance here. We can draw the perpendicular distance here. So that will be, so this particular different color is the path difference. Both will be same thing, same. This will be the path color. And obviously this angle is basically phi. This angle is phi. What I assume? I assume this angle is theta. This angle is theta. This angle is also theta. And what will be this part difference? This part difference is equal to, this is 2d sine theta. This is the part difference. If this angle is theta, then this will be d sine theta, this will be d sine theta, this will be part difference, that will be delta x. And we have constructive interference if this will have actually length of lambda, and for the center this will be only length of lambda. So you can write 2d sine theta is equal to n lambda, and the maxima for the central will be for n is equal to 1. If you have any doubt, you can just ask me.
हेलो सर, सर डी
हाँ.
की वैल्यू कितनी है सर?
D की वैल्यू 0.91 एंगस्ट्रॉम है ना. दिस इज 0.91 एंगस्ट्रॉम. ओके.
सर ये डिटेक्टर इलेक्ट्रॉन की एनर्जी को मेजर कर रहा है क्या सर?
डिटेक्टर करंट मेजर कर रहा है, करंट मेजर कर रहा है. यहां से इलेक्ट्रॉन की एनर्जी दे रहा है, यहां पर से करंट मेजर कर रहा है.
ओके सर.
ठीक है. इंटेंसिटी मेजर कर रहा है. ठीक है. नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन पर यूनिट टाइम पर यूनिट एरिया इज द इंटेंसिटी. ठीक है, वो मेजर कर रहा है. ओके. नाउ I am just taking for n is equal to lambda because I am just talking about the central point. This is all about the central limit. Okay. Now look at this. If you are taking this plane and this plane, so I am just, so can I say this angle is 90 degree? So this whole angle is 90 degree. So this is 90 minus theta. So this angle is also what? Theta. This angle is also what? Theta. So this angle is theta, this angle is theta. So these two angle is theta. So what we can have? We can have theta plus phi plus theta is equal to pi. This whole plane is pi. So theta can be written as pi by 2 minus phi by 2. Pi by 2 minus phi by 2. And now what we are going to put? So we are just going to put phi is equal to, so if we are putting phi is equal to 50 degree here, phi is equal to 50 degree, and d is equal to 0.91 angstrom, I will get the value of lambda, and that lambda is equal to, I will get some value, I am not calculating here, I will just get this value. This value is 1.65 angstrom. So this is, if I will do this experiment with the light, if I will do experiment with the light, I can find the value of this light, sorry, the wavelength of this particular light or X-ray, whatever is this, that will be 1.65 angstrom. Now, what we have done, we have just tried to figure it out with the help of de Broglie wavelength. Now, what will be energy? Now the same thing have done with the electron also with the help of energy. The energy is equal to all about 54 electron volt. So energy is all about 54 electron volt. So what is momentum? So this is P square upon 2m. Hence they are in a vacuum. There is not any potential. P square upon 2m is equal to 50 electron volt. Sorry, 54 electron volt actually. So what is P? P is equal to root under 2me. And then we have calculated the value of lambda, and that lambda is h upon root under 2me, and we have put the value of mass of electron and value of E as 54 electron volt. We can get lambda exactly as 1.65 angstrom. What we have get it? This experiment is actually done by the electrons, and it will give the intensity pattern something like, if this experiment would explain by that particular light, then what should be the wavelength? And if you are verify this thing with the de Broglie wavelength, that will be the exactly same thing. That is exactly same thing. And this experiment will verify, yes, there is existence of de Broglie wavelength matter wave. Means this interference pattern was not made by actually electron as a particle. This is the diffraction pattern. So this diffraction pattern is not made by electron as a particle, because if electron is a particle, it will be very sharp. At same angle, it will just go there. This will be very sharp. So this interference pattern is made by the wave associated with the particle, and now I can say these are nothing but something like de Broglie wavelength. So something like de Broglie wave, and they are the de Broglie single particle. From the single particle, there are n number of de Broglie wavelength, and two wave that will be diffracted from here and here and interfere, and they will give the same pattern because number are suggested. Even if we are not able to see it, but we have to believe that this pattern is from associated to the de Broglie wavelength. So this is the plane, first plane. This is the second plane. This is the distance d, and this is the first ray coming, and here is the second ray is going, and this is the perpendicular distance. This is the perpendicular distance. This angle is theta. This angle is theta, and this angle will also theta, and this angle is phi. This angle is theta, and obviously this will be pattern of de Broglie wavelength for n is equal to 1. So you can just use this diffraction pattern, and this will justify, yes, there is existence of de Broglie wavelength. So this is wonderful experiment. So let's go for the last part of thing, that is all about that uncertainty principle.
हेलो सर।
हाँ बोलो।
सर कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है सर, यहाँ पे आपने सबसे पहले हमें डेविशन जर्मर एक्सपेरिमेंट बताया। तो उसमें आपने इलेक्ट्रॉन का बम्बार्डमेंट कराया कि
बिल्कुल
इलेक्ट्रॉन
कराया।
पार्टिकल्स होते हैं। सर हमें यहाँ पे प्रूव करना था कि एक वेव
नहीं
एसोसिएट
नहीं, इलेक्ट्रॉन भाई हमने तो इलेक्ट्रॉन को एज अ पार्टिकल ही भेजा है।
यस सर।
ठीक है, इलेक्ट्रॉन
Yes,
को
sir.
भेजा तो एज अ पार्टिकल, लेकिन
sir.
अगर पार्टिकल के साथ इस तरह का कुछ होता तो ये पैटर्न नहीं मिलता आपको।
यस सर।
ठीक है, वो तो एक
क्या
लाइन
पैटर्न मिलता है सर फिर?
ये बिल्कुल सीधा सीधा मिलता है कुछ इस तरह से।
बट सर यहाँ पे जो आपने ये डाइफ्रैक्शन, एक्स-रे डाइफ्रैक्शन बताया कि ये तो सर
हाँ
इससे
तो
क्या
मैंने
प्रूव हुआ है सर?
नहीं तो इससे ये प्रूव हुआ, देखो अब इसे समझने के लिए कुछ ना कुछ तो आपको जुगाड़ लगाना पड़ेगा। यू हैव टू मेक सम ट्रिक।
यस
So
सर।
what I have done the same experiment with X-ray also.
Oh, okay, sir.
ठीक
Okay,
है?
sir.
So I have done same experiment with X-ray also. So I have get some value of lambda.
Yes, sir.
This is well verified into the X-ray diffraction in
Yes, yes.
solid state.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now you accepted this thing. Now, if I assume now I am just going for this particular number 54 electron volt because I have two curve, na? Suppose
Yes, sir.
this is given by the X-ray diffraction. Okay.
Okay,
Now
sir.
I have just re-verify this thing with the de Broglie wavelength. Suppose some electron is moving with some velocity and that velocity is driven by 54 electron volt. So what should be the de Broglie wavelength? I have verified. If I will give you, say again different question, ki if energy is 54 electron volt, you can calculate the momentum. What should be the de Broglie wavelength? You will just calculate this one, and
Yes,
once
sir.
you are calculating this one, what you will get? You will get exact same number.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir, sir.
That means what? That means
A wave is
electron as a
associated.
particle is not going to interact.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So moving electron have some matter wave, and that is going to interfere.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Got it? Okay.
Yes.
And some people have asked me, sir, what will you expect from the particle? What will you expect from a particle if you will throw the 1,000 particle together at the same speed, at the same angle? Every particle will come to the same point, isn't it? So you have this type of pattern that every particle will come into same point. But here, how you have this broadened distribution? This is the dangerous situation. And this can be only explained with the wave. So what we can say that moving particle have associated wave nature, and this experiment will verify all these things. So in the examination, please be very conscious that they will give you phi. Okay, the phi is the given quantity and you have to calculate in term of theta. So this is the mother equation. Okay,
सर इसमें
This is
n
the-
को 1 क्यों लिया है हमने?
because I am just talking about the central thing. Central n is equal to 1 means central intensity.
ओके सर.
N is equal to 2, n is equal to 3. There may be n number of it is not like that. If you will very honestly you will ask me, then this will be something like this kind of thing can be happen. Okay, so this is for the second maxima, third maxima. I am just talking about the central maxima, which will be more effective. Okay.
यस सर.
Okay, so let's go for a last thing from the brave particle duality is the uncertainty principle. Let me, so obviously you know in a very simple way what is uncertainty principle. In a very simple way, you can just say that delta x into delta px can be always greater than h cut by 2. Basically, if you will talk about uncertainty, it will talk about the conjugate variable. But I am not coining the word right now because you are in just a graduation. So I will just say that position and its conjugate momentum means if position is along x direction, then momentum will also along x direction. So we will get the uncertainty. And which type of uncertainty? This is a statistical uncertainty. What is statistical uncertainty? Statistical uncertainty, if you want to calculate delta x, then delta x can be average value of x square minus average of x square. And similarly, delta px is equal to average value of px square minus average of px whole square. Now, let me explain you. Obviously, there are n number of uncertainty principle. Please don't stick to only delta x into delta px or delta e into delta t. I will write your favorite also. Delta e into delta t is must be greater than h cut by 2. I will write, you can say, sir, there is another one. Delta L into delta theta is greater than h cut by 2. So you can write n number of uncertainty. Don't worry, there may be n number of uncertainty principle. Depends on what are the conjugate variable. What are conjugate variable? There may be infinite number of conjugate variable into the nature of physics. But the beautiful part is that, so you can write if Q and P are the conjugate variable, then delta Q, delta P is greater than h cut by 2. So this is the thing. But you will stick to obviously you are in very basic level. So this is the thing. What is meaning of that? If I am going to plot uncertainty delta x versus delta px, then this plot is something like this. And we are working only into this region actually, because delta x into delta px must be greater than some particular value. And this is the critical one. You cannot come less than this. What is meaning of that? If you are taking this value as delta x, the minimum uncertainty, for the minimum uncertainty, you have to take this value of delta p. And somehow, if you will going to increase the delta x, then you have to decrease the delta p such that you can get the minimum uncertainty. What is meaning of a statistical uncertainty? What is meaning of a statistical uncertainty? Means if you will repeat the experiment again and again and again, and you will have the data, and then you will measure the error into the position x, into the position px, momentum and position, and if you are going to multiply it, then obviously that will be greater than h cut by 2. Now if you want to understand this all thing in term of phase space, so classically what will happen? Classically I can represent my phase, suppose this is px, this is x. Classically I can represent my phase point as a dimensionless point. Means area under this particular point is always 0. I can take a point as a phase point. This is a point. So this is the classical. Then we have the exact trajectory, because everything is dimensionless. So you can thought they are not taking any area, any point is not taking any area. But according to Heisenberg, and Heisenberg was the pioneer of uncertainty principle, what you can say, if you are talking about px and x, what should be the minimum dimension, what should be the minimum area of phase curve? Here minimum area can be 0. In the classically, the minimum area can be 0. The classical mechanics, you can have delta x into delta px is equal to 0 in a classical mechanics. Means this is nothing but the area under the phase curve. That will be 0. But when we are going for the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, we will find it will not 0 and it will have the order of, you can have, this will be the order of, suppose I am talking about this one is delta x, this one is delta p x, and this will be order of h cut. So concept of trajectory is nullified. The concept of trajectory is nullified. You can assume that in a, suppose I am talking about this phase curve, and if according to uncertainty principle, your phase curve can be something like this, because you cannot, the concept of phase point as a dimensionless point. Dimensionless not in term of MLT. Dimensionless means it has not any length, width and height. In term of phase curve, here you can find if uncertainty principle exists, the minimum dimension is the order of h cut. You cannot make a smaller dimension less than of the order of h cut. Why it is happening? Let me give you example. This is the wonderful example. Suppose, just I am giving you example. Up to that, are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Listen, it is very difficult to understand. If you are very honest, your answer should be, sir, it is very difficult. So, okay, but listen the story, you will get the maturity level. You will try to feel it. So, there is a particle in a box of width A. So, there is a particle in a box of width A. What can be energy? What can be minimum energy? What
H
can be
square
minimum
upon
energy?
H square upon 8m square.
Are nana beta, in general.
Zero.
Zero?
0.
Any epsilon.
Yes, sir.
Take any epsilon because I am giving the some velocity. Okay? The minimum energy, so I can take minimum energy as epsilon, where epsilon tends to 0 means you can think whatever the minimum energy what you can think. Okay? Now, let's try to get the first from the uncertainty principle, then we will try to understand what is a statistical uncertainty. Okay? Now, let's try to use the uncertainty principle to understand this particular, what should be the minimum energy for a particle from the uncertainty principle. Let's try to do. So I can write E as px square upon 2m, but px as a trajectory, px as a point is valid in only classical mechanics. So it is not valid into quantum mechanics. So what I can write this is something delta px square upon 2m. This is classically, and this is, and delta px can be any value. Delta px can be any value. But what I want the minimum uncertainty, and I have taken delta x into delta px is equal to, let's say, h cut. H cut by 2, h cut you can take anything, but in general books use h cut. Most of the case, only for the harmonic oscillator they will use h cut by 2. Because there is some symmetry involved in it, but I cannot go into that deep. Okay, so let's try to figure it out from this uncertainty principle. What will be the energy? So I can write E is equal to, from this uncertainty principle I can write h cut square 2m into delta x whole square. Now E will be minimum, then delta x must be maximum. E will be minimum, then delta x will be maximum. And what should be the maximum error?
A.
A. Obviously, the maximum, your particle can leave here to here. The maximum error is A. So you can get E minimum is equal to h cut square upon 2m A square. Means your minimum value is fixed. You cannot go beyond this particular minimum value. If you are going to go beyond this particular minimum value, then uncertainty principle is going to invalidate. And look at the three different people. First Bohr, second Mr. de Broglie, and third Mr. Heisenberg. Both reach the same conclusion that if particle is bounded, there is minimum value of energy. There is minimum value of energy, which is fixed. You cannot go beyond that minimum value. This is beauty of uncertainty. Now, let me ask, what is meaning of a statistical uncertainty? Let me give you answer. Suppose my particle is inside this box. So external force is 0. So Px dot is equal to 0. So Px must be some constant, and I can get dx upon dt is equal to, let's say, mass of the particle is 1 unit. So dx upon dt is equal to c. So x is equal to ct plus alpha. Isn't it? X is equal to ct plus alpha. Now, this is all about classical mechanics calculation. And now I will just do it very nicely such that you can feel of what is meaning of uncertainty and what is meaning of this. Now, look at here. Here I am making a lot of experiment with classical mechanics, and here let's say quantum mechanics. I use the word quantum mechanics. Two things is there. Either you can take the same particle, either you can take 1000 number of particle and you will have same initial condition such that this condition, and I just want to know where is the particle at t is equal to 0 with this particular equation. So t is equal to 0. Suppose, let's say first I will do this experiment again and again, then I will do this experiment, I will throw the 1000 particle together. Let's see what will happen. Then I will do this experiment, I will give you camera and you will take the photo of that particular thing. We will do this experiment again and again. Now, so first experiment, every time I have to tell where is the particle at t is equal to 0. Where is the particle? Alpha, because it has precise trajectory. Again, second time I am doing experiment, that will be alpha. Again, third time I am going to experiment, that will be alpha. Again, fourth time I am going to experiment, that will be alpha. Okay. Now I am just going to measure average value of x. So suppose I am doing it 100 times, then this will be 100 into alpha by alpha, that will be alpha. Suppose I am going to measure x square, expectation value x square, that will be 100 times alpha square by 100 by 100 by 100, that will be alpha square. Let us try to measure delta x. So according to this experiment, delta x square minus delta x is equal to 0. So delta x, this will be alpha square minus alpha square, that will be 0. Means there is not any uncertainty involved into the thing. Means you will measure the particle at once and you can predict where is the particle at t is equal to 0 with this equation. This equation is well verified by the Newton's law. Now what will happen quantum mechanically if you will treat the particle quantum mechanically? And obviously alpha is between 0 to a. Then when you are going to measure this quantum mechanically, you cannot give guarantee that maybe first time this is at alpha 1, alpha. Second time it may be alpha by 2. Third time it may be 3 alpha by 2, 4. Fourth time it may be again alpha. So here what you can get, you cannot predict the particle where it is. Now I am doing this experiment in a different way. Suppose I have 100 number of particle and this time I am measuring it classically. So what is meaning of that? I have take this initial condition and I just want to know where is the particle at t is equal to 0. Then I will just plot the number of particle versus x, and this is classical. Where is the particle at t is equal to 0? You will find all the particle will be at x is equal to alpha. You will find all the particle at x is equal to alpha. But when we are going to the quantum mechanically, so what is, so this is the precise value, and when you are going for the quantum mechanically, you will get something this kind of distribution. Some particle can be here, 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 some particle can be here. So there is not any precise measurement when you are talking about quantum mechanical thing. So this is all about a statistical measurement. Let me explain you in another way. I have one particle and you all have one camera. Every observer have one camera. And this particle is moving. And if this particle is moving classically, and if I just want to become this particle classical, you will take a photograph and you will just tell me where is the particle at t is equal to 0. You will tell me that every particle is alpha. Everybody's answer is alpha. But when you are doing it from the quantum mechanical camera, from the quantum mechanical observations, what you will find? You will find that some particle, someone's particle can be here, someone particle can be here, someone particle can be here, means your position is dispersed. Your position is have error. You cannot say exactly where will be the particle. It can be, look at my hand. If I am saying where is the particle, you can say, okay, exactly here. But when we have this kind of situation, it is very difficult. And please mind it is not about the measurement tools such that you can tell that, sir, I will use very high resolution camera and I will not get uncertainty at the quantum mechanics level, at the microscopic level. No, this is the internal character of the particle. This is the internal character of a particle such that sometime you can get your friends. Your some friend are very predictable, that you can say at 10 o'clock he will just eat and 12 o'clock he will go to the class. At they are predictable. So they behave just like as a classical. But you can find your some friend is not predictable. Today at same 10 o'clock, maybe he is playing, and tomorrow you cannot predict he will play or he will into that cinema hall. So obviously heat position will be uncertain. This thing can be explained, cannot be justified with the classical mechanics, with the Newtonian mechanics. This can be only justified with the basically quantum mechanics and uncertainty principle. So this is the explanation of uncertainty principle. So whatever be the doubt, I will take it into next class. Okay.